the wave. Create it.
All right, y'all. Welcome in episode 11 of New Wave Certified. I'm your host, John Larkin, and with me today, I also have my producer, Darshawn Smith. Darshawn, thanks for joining me here today, man.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. So real quick, just kind of laying out, how the rest of the episode is going to work. So basically what we're covering today, we're going to talk a little bit about what we have planned for fall. We're going to talk about what you guys can expect as far as content moving forward. And then we're also going to do a little bit of reflection and kind of look back on some things that we kind of experienced here throughout, the last couple weeks, months that we've been working, right?
Yes, sir.
So yeah, bro. What was your favorite episode that we've had so far?
I'm not going to lie, the one with Apollo, that one was hitting. For me, visually it looked good, and Apollo's story is just he's out of here, and the progression, seeing him work with the trainers and through COVID and all that, and seeing slowly but surely get put into the rotation at Iowa, the school you and I both went to is super cool. Though obviously, I'm a little biased. The one with my brother, he was dropping game, but I think for athletes, I think that's just a really good episode about professionalism. Sports end at some point. The average NFL career, if you make it that far, is only 3.5 years. So sports end.
You know what the NFL stands for?
National Football League.
Yes, but what else?
Can
you take a guess?
No.
Not for long.
Not
3.5 years, right?
3.5 years.
No, yeah. I mean, the Apollo episode, that was pretty sweet. Obviously, that's my homeboy. I love visiting with him and stuff like that. But you talked about the one with Naeem. Some of my guys, a lot of the guys that train here, a lot of the kids, they've been watching, the episodes, and they throw it up on their TV and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. And they one of my running backs, Mari Orr, man, he shout out homeboy, man. He really liked your episode and Naeem's episode.
Yeah.
He's like, man. He's speaking facts.
I don't know everything, but I do know something. Okay,
yeah, right.
That's what I tell people. So whenever I get a chance to just try and speak intelligently on some topics I have some experience in, like branding, having some name, image, and likeness in this modern 21st century, I always try to drop some game.
For sure. Yeah. So kind of looking forward as far as what to expect this fall. Friday Night Lights. We're recording this episode on August 9th. Okay, so this thing won't be dropping until probably week one, Sunday before week one of, high school football. And so what you can really expect from us moving forward, you're going to see a lot more YouTube content on the actual game, right? You'll be able to see recaps of the games, but then also I'm going to give you my instant reaction to what I saw and things that stood out to me, and maybe preview next week's competition. But I do like to kind of wait and kind of drop where we're going on the day of the game so people don't know.
Yeah.
But we'd be doing those little Photoshop edits and all that good stuff. But yeah, man, what are some things that you would want to see? If you were a viewer, what would you like to see? Give me some ideas.
I mean, definitely you're a coach, what I'm saying? You've been out here coaching these people. I definitely want to see, especially the people that have been on the podcast, if you could get any information on the college folks, just staying up to date with their story, you were just talking about Cyrus and how, his podcast was great too, but also, all his coaches actually watched it. And when he went back, he instantly, was contributing, and he was doing numbers, I hear, just through the grapevine, Yeah. But that speaks volumes to what he was able to produce on and off the field, that it got all the way back to here. He's on the other side of the state.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's statewide. So I definitely want to, I would like to see more of that for the college guys, but for high school guys, I know this is super big in this modern era of, not only NIL, but just this digital world we live in. People want to see who's the next star. They want to see the best people in the state, and a lot of those best people in the state already come here. So, you may have the opportunity to maybe get to a sideline and record some video, or maybe do little interviews with the athletes, or little things like that. I think that would be super cool, and not only put people on, what I'm saying, people who maybe are getting no looks from schools out here, and shed a little light on them, because the light does shine bright at New Wave. Okay, it's a powerful tool that must be used responsibly. But two, I think it also will help people just continue to associate greatness with this brand.
Yeah, that is what our brand's about. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those two things, super big for me.
Hell yeah. I love that idea. Just the idea of post game, just going down. Obviously, that's what I like doing. I like going and chopping it up with the players, you know what I'm saying, after the game. But then also just kind of, hey, man, talk about your performance. You rushed for over 100 yards. You had 2 touchdowns. You had an interception. Talk about that play in the end zone when you did X, Y, and Z. I think that's something that you post on X, and that thing will go.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So that's definitely something that we'll be doing, adding to the bag. And, we just finally reached 700 subscribers on YouTube.
As of this morning.
As of this morning, 702 subscribers, man. So we'll see where we're at here in a couple weeks. Might be at 800. We'll see, man. But, man, big shout out to you, bro. I really appreciate, all of this, that you do, and, just definitely wouldn't have been able to make this happen without you. So I appreciate you for that.
Yeah, I appreciate you for the opportunity. And hey, this is just the beginning. I know you and I talk about this all the time off camera, about like what this can be one day. And I was just talking about this with my sister. She's here helping me today as well. She's getting into the camera stuff as well. And that this could really be like the biggest podcast in Iowa. This could be, one of the biggest shows in this region of this great nation, but we just got to keep pounding the grindstone. We got to keep dropping content. We just got to keep, showing up and showing out, and just, telling stories ultimately that people want to hear about.
You make a great point. And it led me to think about a concept that I was, that was on my mind yesterday. So I had a basketball player in yesterday, and I definitely want you two to meet. He's phenomenal, like one of the hardest workers that I work with. You know what I mean? And he's only gonna be a freshman. But anyway, and he was talking. He's like, man, like how come more people don't do this? I'm like, well, one, I'm thinking in my head, well, they don't know about it yet. But I told him, I said, look, they're gonna see how good you are, and then they'll come.
Yeah.
And that's really how like this whole brand started. Because like I said, in one of the first podcasts, I was a nobody. Like nobody knew who I was. Kind of really earned my reputation by getting other people better. And I think it's the same thing can be said about this podcast. We're starting off real small, and but we're still having high quality content and making sure that folks are staying entertained, they're staying informed, and they're learning, they're getting better. And obviously the guests we have on are high level too. So I mean, it's only going to get better, folks. So just stick with it, man. Ride the wave, man. We'll take it, man. So, but what else do you kind of have visioned for, where we want to be positioned with this whole setup here by, November of this year? Yeah,
I definitely just want to see us continue to just help people, and we've been helping athletes, get eyeballs, get, some light shined on them. But like even last week, we had, Gabe on the podcast and highlighting his business and what he can also provide for athletes. I think, getting some more business owners as well in here that have something to do with the sports world, or even other coaches, what I'm saying, that have been through some things, that have, seen, some ups, seen some downs, and like just provide like their stories and takes on what's going on currently, because in this modern era of social media, I think DC Young Fly or like Gilly from $1 Million Worth of Game, they were speaking on this, how like, nowadays anybody with the phone can say anything, and that can really, be detrimental to people that actually have something going on. But I think I say all that to say that I think that we need to just continue to highlight people that are actually doing things. It doesn't have to be just sports because it's just a game, bro. Like at the end of the day, it's just a game. You got to go home. You have potentially a family, some kids. You got a community you serve in or live in or want to see do well. So I think especially by November, like if we could try and make something happen, and some of that is on me. I'll see what I can see in this world and see who's available to talk about what they do and how they want to make the world a better place.
Yeah, no, you make a good point as far as just diversifying a little bit, with the folks that we bring in and stuff like that. And that kind of made me think a little bit about something that we've been talking about behind the scenes a lot, and that's getting sponsors, man. So this is gonna be the first time I think on the podcast we've brought up the foundation.
Yep.
Yep.
It's our first official sponsored segment.
All right, hey man, this episode of New Wave Certified is sponsored by the Wave of Opportunity Foundation. It is a 501c3 nonprofit here in Cedar Rapids that's dedicated towards serving underprivileged athletes in our community. And basically what we're trying to do is we're trying to give these athletes an opportunity, hence the name Wave of Opportunity. And so I can't tell you enough how many athletes that have hit us up over the years and that want to get in here and work because they've seen what it's done for other people and they know what it would do for them and their family, but they simply do not have the means to do so. And I'll do what I can to help them, but at the end of the day, like I got to put food on the table for myself. So it kind of makes it difficult in some ways, but anywho, this would allow them to kind of still pursue those opportunities and work with us. But then also, if they play AAU basketball, that's not cheap. You play 7-on-7 football, you travel. Someone's got to pay for that, and especially if you don't have, an extra dollar or two to stretch along the way, this kind of allows, our community to help serve you. Because at the end of the day, you go and you make it, it's going to come right back, So that's kind of the whole deal there. But again, if you're like a local business or someone that's feeling, charitable, that wants to help out a young athlete in our community, this is a great avenue to do so.
So yeah, all that being said, how can people get in contact with you for that? Is there like an email or phone number or something people can, or even like a page, an Instagram or something where people can reach out to you?
Yeah, I'd say the easiest way to move forward with something like that is honestly, you can call me. My numbers, contacts, information is on the website. Email is good, johnlarkin@new.wave.performance.com. That's a great way to reach me. And then obviously Instagram, DM, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, whatever it is.
Hey, there's no excuses. John is everywhere, okay? I'll be sure that it's all in the description below, whether you're watching on Spotify or listening on Apple or wherever else this podcast is, because it's everywhere. And yeah, don't ride the wave, create it.
That's facts. We're really trying to move folks forward, man, redefine performance. But anyway, I do think that it would be a great idea to also point out like the types of people that are watching this content: athletes, parents, coaches.
No, especially coaches, but even more so parents. Like this is something that happened last week when we were here. I got a vlog I'm still editing that you'll see in a few days. Obviously, y'all would have seen it probably like 2 weeks ago by the time this comes out. To where like just the reaction from the parent of us highlighting their kid and what they're doing and showing the work they're putting in. Like I think parents especially care deeply about like everything that's going on, because it really shows that like, hey, they're not just coming in here and running around. You know what I'm saying? They're not just coming in here and goofing off with the boys. Like this is a serious institution where people are getting better.
Yeah, folks get better. They put in the work. The parents see that, they appreciate that, and then there are opportunities where we kind of let the guys and everybody just kind of compete a little bit and have some fun, like you're talking about. But yeah, I guess as far as the rest of the year, we've got some big goals on the table. But I think it would be remiss if we wouldn't have spoken more about, how far we've come as far as, just the brand
Yep.
and where this thing all started. I can't remember what were we talking about before this, as far as like, you know, where we were at before we started the podcast.
Yeah, like recapping it. Yeah. I don't know, like how far do you want to take it back? Because like John and I, we've been working together for like 2.5, 3 years now.
Yeah.
But consistently, I'd say for the last like 4 or 5 months, and even in those 4 or 5 months, it's like your Instagram followers going up. The engagement on the post is super cool. I saw this making the podcast that's about to go live in a few days. It's like you're getting hundreds of likes, tens, if not hundreds of comments weekly, daily, even at times, thousands, tens of thousands of views. And it's like it all started from so little. Like we've gained like 300 subscribers in like 2 or 3 months just doing this podcast.
It's
YouTube.
crazy to put it into perspective. But I think I do remember the big reason why I wanted to bring that stuff up was because when I spoke earlier about, kind of being a nobody at some point to where we're at now, I feel a certain affinity to work with people with a similar story and background. You know what I mean? I think about connecting you with Kingston, right? I think about connecting you with him, right? And he's just starting out, you know what I mean? But I don't know. I just feel like there's a relation there, as far as like ways that we can make an impact, on him and just doing good by people.
Yeah. No, I've seen some of his work, and we've been in contact loosely, planning to do more in the future. And people who just really want it, you can tell. Like they work a little different. They show up early, stay a little bit late. They're not afraid to look goofy or whatever in the moment because they're not afraid to ask the questions no one else wants to ask. And like that's what separates people like you and me from the rest. Like I said, I don't know everything, but I do know something. And that is because I've had people in my life be like, hey, like, nah, that's not how you do it. Try it like this. This is what worked for me or whatever. So definitely wanna we need to get him on the podcast.
Sure, yeah,
if
man.
anything, and really just talk about sports media. You know what I'm saying? Because I know that was a big thing Apollo talked about in his podcast episode. His not for long career after the game is over, if you want to keep that
the
going.
broadcasting and all that.
Sports broadcasting and the importance of being able to talk on a camera, being able to capture a moment behind the camera, being able to get behind the scenes and all of these things, and really just not only entertain people, but just like I said, like restore some humanity, or the people's hope in humanity rather, and just be like, hey, like there's still good people out here willing to put the time in to produce something that can change lives.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, again, to me, it's just all about finding those people, and I think it was like one of the first things we talked about in our test episode was
we're gonna have to drop that soon, I mess with you. It lives in the archive.
But nah, just I don't know. I just think about how different it hits when you can sit here and say that you put in the work to get to where you're at.
Yeah.
And it's not just handed to you.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have an easy path. It just hits different. And I don't know, man. It's just hard for me sometimes to relate to folks that are the opposite.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
How I view it, like, don't get it twisted. Like, being handed the silver spoon, like, that is cool and all, but it is still its own challenge because now you have to maintain it. We were just talking about Shedeur Sanders, Shiloh Sanders, Deion Sanders Jr., Deion himself, you know what I'm saying? or some would say he got handed the silver spoon. Your dad is Deion, MF, and Sanders, okay? On the flip side, your dad is the greatest athlete of all time, arguably, okay? In all of sports, everything. That's a immense weight to carry.
It's pressure.
That is, and a lot of people squander it. I don't mean to be all problematic, call me crazy. Sorry, Michael Jordan.
I knew you were going to say that.
Picture over there, but Michael Jordan Jr. or whatever his son's name is, he's not doing too hot out here. So like, even this is for me, this is how I still connect with people who have been handed, air quotes, some things, been given the silver spoon. Is like anybody can be given an opportunity, okay? But only a few can still execute.
Yeah, what are you going to do with that opportunity?
Some people, like you and I, we got to, go out of our way to make it. We got to make that opportunity, try to, put our foot in the door when people are trying to slam it closed, or just, find a way to actually, stick out from the crowd, because there's a lot of people doing literally everything these days. But it's super powerful on both sides of the spectrum when you just see people who really want it.
You brought up sticking out inside the crowd, right? Standing out from the crowd, however you want to phrase it. Kind of led me to something I read about branding this morning. You got to know what you are and what you are not, right?
Say that one more time.
You got to know what you are and what you are not. Right? Because if you try to be everything,
you're nothing.
You're going to blend in. But if you know, hey, I'm not that. I'm not that guy. I'm not this. I'm not that. You're a little bit more distinct. Right? And so one of the lessons I learned through that is, well, at first I was trying to, I used to think about maybe just doing just skills training and, just doing even like basketball.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I was in college and I'm like, that's not me. That's not what I do, and I kind of leaned into the just being unique, you know what I mean, as far as like what I'm doing. How has, after you hear that, how do you see yourself fitting into that question? Like, what are you not?
I think that's a really big thing that more people need to, like, just one, realize, and just understand that you can't do it all at the same time. A wise person once told me, you can do whatever you want in this life. You just can't do it all at the same time. I think that's a great quote. I don't know who said it, but shout out to them. But then two is, like, once you realize that, you just need to, like, actually decide, stop procrastinating. Stop being like, oh, I'll figure it out in a week or two. No, you can figure this out pretty fast. If everything was perfectly fine in your reality, what's the first thing you're running towards? What's the first thing you're like, I'd wake up super early and stay up super late to do that? Like what's the thing that the world actually needs? There's this, I don't know what it's called, but there's this ideology from the Japanese folk that it's like what you do in life is a mixture of like what you actually want to do and versus like what the world actually needs. And like finding some balance in between that is how you'll actually be able to separate yourself, as we're talking about here, from the pack. So rather than doing everything, because everyone tries to do everything, and that's how you just fit in and just be good enough or mediocre enough to be known as that guy that can probably do it. Versus someone like myself who's been like over the last year especially being like, okay, like I run a production company. We create content. Yes, I do offer photo, video, and graphic design services within this company, but primarily speaking, me personally, I'm a photographer that just so happens to do video. Funny enough, I think I'm doing all right with the video, but this is not my expertise per se. I could write a book on photography and all of this other stuff, and this is something I'm trying to get better at because this is how I market my business. You know what I'm saying? This is how I, get my name out there into the world, and it's just so happened to slowly transition into what the world needs versus what I'd actually like to do. So although like photography is like the main thing, video, and especially in this 21st century we're living in, is super big. And like I said, it's what the world needs right now.
Instagram at one point was only photos.
Yeah.
Shoot, I remember when they first dropped videos.
Hey, I'm gonna be putting some screenshots and everything on what Instagram used to look like, because I
Picture of
remember
your food.
like literally, the food eats first, like
Right.
like we've all come a long way, in this modern era.
You see that they added maps.
Yeah, I just I don't know how I feel about that,
Yeah.
to be honest with you, but because it's like kind of like Snapchat, but like I think Instagram is still kind of mad they couldn't buy Snapchat,
Oh,
so
100%. 100%. Well, they took stories.
Yep.
So
disappearing pictures and everything.
Instagram, like they have just taken like a little bit from every single other like competitor and like made it their own, right?
Yep.
So you got the photo sharing app, Instagram. That's what it was before anything, right? Then they added videos, right? That was taken from Vine.
Yes.
They took that from Vine. I don't know. Some of y'all don't even probably know what Vine is. It's pretty much TikTok for TikTok.
Yeah, I heard Elon's about to bring it back, or the archives or something. So more on that
soon. Stories. They took that from Snapchat. Live, Instagram Live. They took that from Periscope.
Yep.
Remember Periscope?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then that's ancient technology.
Yeah, that's pandemic. That's pandemic. Before pandemic, actually.
Yeah, that was
before pandemic. And then what else they have? They have DMs. That's
the disappearing messages. That also is from
Snapchat, and then
Reels. Reels is from like TikTok.
Yeah, and then channels, broadcast channels
from like X, Twitter.
Yeah, so they literally just made it a super app. You know what I mean? But no, kind of got a little sidetracked here as far as different topics and stuff like that. But it's real authentic conversation, so it is what it is.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
We still posting. This is what John is saying.
Yeah. So, but no, just to kind of circle back on everything again, what you'll expect to see here this fall. Still going to be posting a lot of training content. Still going to be posting like a weekly vlog. A lot of that weekly vlog is going to be us at the game, right? And then also we'll have, the highlights of the game. We'll have, like a 20-minute YouTube video, 15-minute YouTube video of like all the plays and everything, like all the drives that you would see in a game. And then also the, like what you just suggested earlier was the, almost like the player interview afterwards to help push them out and get them recognized and so on and so forth. But and then also on this podcast we'll be talking a little bit about reactions. You know what I mean? And I think
to high school, to college, maybe even the NFL. You know how John likes his Eagles.
Man, I'm going to Philly, watch them put a beat down on the Cowboys, hang a banner. It's gonna be a great day. Man. It's gonna be a great day. But man, I'm just looking forward to that day. But I mean, it'll kind of be a little bit more structured, kind of like this, I think, too, where, we do talk a little bit about that, but I'm sure there's going to be some other things that are on my mind and stuff like that I'd like to share with y'all. And we do have a new broadcast channel on Instagram. It's called the New Wave Athlete. Basically, it's just daily mental motivation, maybe a little bit of behind the scenes here and there. You know what I'm saying? Just little cameos or something like that. But,
Yep. And best believe, be sure to tell us what you want to see, okay?
Yep.
Y'all are the people that are, supporting this brand and contributing to what we have going on here. If you want to, if you really want us to focus on those athlete interviews, then, we're going to be messaging some athletic directors, trying to get some credentials, get into some games, you know what I'm saying? But if you're like, nah, we don't want that. We want, those coach interviews or something like that, or we want the more business content. Like this is, a podcast just about the sports world and, the athletes and the stories to be told within. But, we're here to, give y'all what y'all want to at the end of the day. So at least that's how I view it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
shoot, that's pretty much the greatest way to put it. Let us know what you want to see. I do know that at some point we'll be talking a little bit more about training topics and just science, peer review literature and stuff like that.
I was just about to say, John, you got to do an episode breaking down like the science, because you're like a science-based, guy, like
Yeah,
you're not
man.
just out here being like, oh yeah, try this.
Yeah, that looks good on Instagram. Let's do it here.
No, like this is something.
Hey, it don't work like that. I was watching.
Yeah.
Oh man, I was on Facebook, believe it or not, because I made a post in a group chat or whatever like that, and I was on Facebook and I saw some speed and agility, and just at first I saw some good drills. I'm like, okay, this person, they look like they know what they're doing, and then I was just kind of looking at it. I'm like, just kind of looks random, just I don't know. But that's the scientist in me, you know what I mean? That's like, okay, well, what's the purpose? But anyway, no, I was actually that JJ Smith, the basketball player that I got that I was telling you about. He goes, how do you come up with the workouts and all that? I'm like, well, it's all based on science. So yesterday we were doing a isometric for his knees because basketball players need strong joints because they play so many games and stuff like that. And I just told him, I said, the process behind it is understand what your target outcome is for the athlete, understand the demands of the game, and then once you do that, figure out, okay, well, what method can I use to train said outcome or adaptation? For example, strong knees. I want to make sure that he's got strong muscle tendon junctions and just basically strong joints. So what's a way that we can do that? Well, isometrics are good. Isometric holds, isometric pushes, things of that nature. So we did a wall sit, but we didn't just do a regular wall sit. We did a wall sit with the feet close together and heels elevated, toes tucked underneath the knees. And what that does is it puts the joint in a specific position or range to where it's at a higher level of stress and it's loading the joint. And he goes afterwards like, how do you know how to do that? Well, just gotta look at the science, man. And
I mean, look at this, man. Like you just heard. Hey, John, we're gonna save that for another full episode. I feel like I was just in class right there. I just learned how to strengthen these knees up. Like, geez,
just do some wall sits, man. Just put yourself in a position that you might find yourself in the game.
Now, this man is knowledgeable, y'all. I mean, I'm pretty sure y'all knew that already. But if you didn't know,
we don't really talk about the science a lot. Everybody just lets me do my thing. You know what I mean? I don't really get into it because not everybody wants to know. But
I think that'll definitely be content for other trainers. People who want to elevate themselves to a position like you know what I'm saying, where you go from, training out your cars, little couple cones in the park, as you said,
training out the car, man. Shoot, I was just thinking about that the
to
other
a
day,
13,000 square foot facility.
Bro, I'm telling you, like I used to camp out at Cleveland Park, man. I used to sleep in my car.
Humble beginnings.
Before in between the sessions, because like I said, I drive up from Iowa City. I'm not going to drive up in the morning, drive back. I'm not going to do that. So
it's a waste of gas.
Just wait. I would just wait, go to the library or something. Just go to the gym, whatever. You know what I mean? But nah, it's I remember putting in a poll in on my Instagram story, asking what people wanted to see in the podcast, and vast majority of people wanted to see the athlete interviews. There were very, very, very little that wanted to see business, right? And then there was a small percentage in the middle that wanted to see training topics. But we'll give you a little bit of everything, man. We'll give you a little bit of everything. We know we know we are, we know we're not, but we're just gonna put ourselves in a situation where we can give some knowledge and free game and all that good stuff. So
yes, sir.
But shoot, man, I think that pretty much does it. You know what I mean? Are you all good with that?
Yeah, that was nice, short, and sweet, to the point.
All right, man. Thanks, y'all, joining us. Episode 11, New Wave Certified. Find us on YouTube. Go subscribe, comment, like. Get us to 1K, man. Let's do it.
Spotify, Apple, anywhere you can find a podcast, we're probably there. So,
all right, y'all. Take care.
Deuces.